The chilling tendrils of fate, once thought severed, now weave a tighter, more sinister web, drawing our beloved Emmerdale characters into a maelstrom of deceit, danger, and desperate choices. As the curtain falls on John Sugden's fleeting escape, the stage is set for a revelation that will send tremors not only through the Dales but across the very fabric of ITV's soap universe. Prepare yourselves, for the episode of October 8th is not merely a broadcast, it is a meticulously crafted descent into the heart of darkness, a symphony of suspense and betrayal that will leave you breathless, questioning every alliance, every motive, every shadow. Our journey begins not with a whimper, but with a roar, as the picturesque canals of Rotterdam become the unwitting backdrop for John Sugden's desperate dance with destiny. Having fled the tightening noose of British justice, aided by Caleb Milligan's calculated treachery, John believes he has found sanctuary. Yet, the tranquility of a foreign land belies the storm brewing within. He is a ghost among strangers, haunted by the specter of his past victims, each face a silent accusation etched into the labyrinth of his tormented mind. The episode opens with a visceral scene. John, cloaked in the anonymity of a bustling marketplace, his eyes darting, paranoia his constant companion. Every shadow seems to hold a threat, every whispered conversation a potential denunciation. He clutches a worn, tattered photograph, a chilling memento of Anthony Fox, whose burial site remains his most potent bargaining chip, a secret held captive by Caleb's ruthlessness. But John's illusion of freedom is about to shatter. Unbeknownst to him, the long arm of the law, spurred by a relentless Cain Dingle, is already closing in. Cain, fueled by a searing rage born of betrayal and a thirst for justice, has orchestrated a covert operation with the local Dutch police, a web woven with meticulous precision. He is not just seeking retribution for himself, but for the countless victims whose lives John has irrevocably scarred. The scene shifts to a dimly lit police briefing room in Rotterdam, where Cain, his face grim and determined, pores over grainy surveillance footage. He points to a figure, unmistakable even in the low resolution, John Sugden. "That's him," Cain's voice, a low growl, cuts through the tension. "The monster who stole my brother's trust and nearly took Mac's life." Meanwhile, back in Emmerdale, the fallout from Caleb's betrayal continues to ripple through the Dales, tearing at the seams of family loyalties. Caleb, initially confident in his Machiavellian maneuvering, finds his carefully constructed facade beginning to crack. The weight of his actions, striking Cain, aiding a murderer, all to protect his wife and family from the repercussions of Anthony Fox's death, begins to take its toll. We witness a powerful, emotionally charged scene between Caleb and Moira Dingle. Moira, her eyes burning with a mixture of grief and fury, confronts him. "How could you, Caleb? How could you betray your own brother for a monster like John?" Caleb, for once, is rendered speechless, his usual composure replaced by a haunted vulnerability. He attempts to justify his actions, painting himself as a protector, but Moira sees through the veneer, recognizing the selfish core of his choices. This confrontation is not merely an argument, it is a raw, unflinching exploration of the moral compromises we make and the devastating ripple effects they have. The true genius of this episode, however, lies in its intricate weaving of multiple storylines, each ratcheting up the tension to an almost unbearable degree. While John's immediate fate hangs in the balance, a much larger, more insidious threat continues to fester in Emmerdale: Celia Daniels. Jay Griffith's portrayal of Celia is a masterclass in understated menace, and in this episode, she takes center stage, revealing layers of villainy previously only hinted at. The audience is plunged into the murky depths of her drug empire, witnessing firsthand the chilling precision with which she operates. The episode features a heart-wrenching sequence involving April Windsor, a poignant reminder of the innocent lives caught in Celia's web. April, still reeling from Celia's brutal warning and the threat to her life, is visibly traumatized. We see her attempting to resume a semblance of normalcy, but the fear in her eyes is palpable. She flinches at unexpected noises, withdraws from her friends, and carries the heavy burden of a lie she is forced to uphold. This scene serves as a powerful testament to the devastating impact of County Line's drug trafficking, highlighting the psychological torment inflicted upon its young victims. The narrative then takes a startling turn, delving deeper into Celia's meticulous control over her network. We are granted a chilling glimpse into her empire, a clandestine operation run from an unassuming, seemingly legitimate business front. The scene is bathed in a cold, clinical light, a stark contrast to the warmth of the Dales. Celia, impeccably dressed and radiating an aura of impenetrable authority, oversees a clandestine meeting. Her people, a diverse group of ruthless enforcers, listen with unwavering attention as she outlines her next moves. The dialogue is sharp, precise, and laced with an unspoken threat. She reveals a sophisticated intelligence network, hinting at contacts within law enforcement and even political circles, a shocking revelation that elevates her far beyond a mere street-level dealer. "Every cog must turn in perfect synchronicity," she states, her voice calm yet menacing, "or the machine breaks, and those who break it will be repurposed." This scene cements her status as not just a drug queenpin, but a formidable criminal mastermind, pulling strings in the shadows. A pivotal moment in Celia's storyline involves Ray, her unwitting pawn. The episode explores the complex, almost symbiotic relationship between them. We see Ray, desperate and trapped, attempting to subtly push back against Celia's iron grip. There's a tense, whispered conversation in a secluded corner of the village, a desperate plea from Ray for a way out. Celia, however, is unmoved, her response laced with a chilling mixture of false sympathy and veiled threats. She reminds him of his past, his homelessness, and how she rescued him, subtly reinforcing his dependence. This scene is a masterclass in psychological manipulation, showcasing Celia's ability to exploit vulnerability. But the episode's most shocking twist concerning Celia lies in an unexpected connection. As Kane closes in on John in Rotterdam, a crucial piece of evidence surfaces, linking Celia not only to the drug trade but to a far wider, more dangerous network. During the police raid in Rotterdam, a discarded burner phone is found in John's temporary hideout. This phone, when analyzed, reveals a series of encrypted messages not from Caleb, but from an unknown number. The Dutch police, initially baffled, pass the information to Kane, who, with his innate knack for sniffing out trouble, recognizes a familiar pattern. He enlists the help of a tech-savvy contact, a shadowy figure from his past, to decrypt the messages. The revelation is staggering. The messages contain coded instructions, not related to John's escape, but concerning illicit drug shipments and financial transactions, all orchestrated by a figure known only as the Serpent. As the final message is decrypted, a name flashes across the screen, a name that sends a shiver down Kane's spine: Celia D. The D, he realizes with dawning horror, stands for Daniels. The drug queenpin of Emmerdale is not merely operating a local network, she is part of a much larger, international criminal syndicate, her tentacles reaching far beyond the Dales, even to Rotterdam, possibly even facilitating John's initial escape through her contacts. This elevates Celia from a powerful local villain to a global threat, making her a far more formidable antagonist than initially perceived. The emotional core of the episode, however, rests firmly on Mackenzie Boyd's shoulders. His trauma, a raw wound in the heart of Emmerdale, is explored with gut-wrenching honesty. We witness his ongoing struggle with agoraphobia, the fear of leaving his home, a lingering scar from John's horrific captivity. A poignant scene unfolds as Charity Dingle, ever the fierce protector, tries to gently coax Mac out of the house for a simple walk. His reluctance, his visible panic, his inability to articulate the suffocating fear that grips him, are portrayed with heartbreaking authenticity. The camera lingers on his tormented face, mirroring the internal battle raging within him. This is not just about physical recovery, it's about the arduous journey of healing a shattered psyche. The episode masterfully uses flashbacks, brief, jarring snippets of his time in John's bunker, the crossbow, the syringe, to illustrate the profound impact of his ordeal, immersing the audience in his psychological torment. Charity's unwavering support, her patience and understanding, shine through, highlighting the enduring strength of their bond. The climax of the episode is a breathtaking, heart-stopping chase through the labyrinthine streets and canals of Rotterdam. Kane, alongside the Dutch police, corner John in a bustling fish market, the air thick with the smell of the sea and the cries of vendors. John, cornered and desperate, makes a last-ditch attempt to escape, weaving through the bewildered crowds, knocking over stalls, creating chaos. The scene is a masterclass in action choreography, a visceral ballet of pursuit and evasion. John, using his knowledge of the city's hidden passages, believes he can outrun them. He scrambles onto a canal boat, hoping to disappear into the waterways. But Kane, anticipating his move, is one step ahead. In a spectacular sequence, he leaps onto a neighboring boat, a daring, almost suicidal act. The two men confront each other on the rocking deck, the churning water beneath them a metaphor for the tempestuous emotions raging between them. The fight is brutal, primal, a clash of vengeance and survival. John, his back against the wall, pulls a hidden knife, desperation twisting his features into a mask of pure malevolence. Kane, his eyes blazing with an unyielding resolve, disarms him with a swift, brutal move, a lifetime of street fighting condensed into a single, decisive action. Just as Kane is about to deliver the final, justice-serving blow, a sudden, blinding flash of light erupts from a nearby building. A sniper's dot appears on John's chest, then on Kane's. A chilling, almost imperceptible sound of a silenced rifle echoes. The shot is aimed not to kill, but to incapacitate. John cries out, clutching his arm as blood blooms on his sleeve. But before anyone can react, a second shot rings out, this time striking Kane, not fatally, but a painful graze that sends him reeling backward. The sniper, revealed to be a shadowy figure on a rooftop, is then seen making a swift, professional escape, disappearing into the Rotterdam night. This unexpected intervention, a shocking external force, throws the entire operation into disarray, leaving both John and Kane wounded, and the audience stunned. Who is this mysterious sniper? And more importantly, whose side are they on? Is this a third party, or an extension of Celia's newly revealed international network, ensuring that John remains a pawn in a larger game? The episode concludes with a chilling cliffhanger. John Sugden, bleeding but alive, is finally apprehended by the Dutch authorities, his reign of terror seemingly at an end. But the capture is tainted by the enigmatic sniper's intervention, leaving a lingering sense of unease. As John is led away in handcuffs, his eyes meet Kane's. There's a flicker of something in John's gaze, not defeat, but a cold, calculated triumph, as if he knows a secret, a greater threat that still looms. Back in Emmerdale, As news of John's capture slowly trickles in, there's a collective sigh of relief, but it is short-lived. The episode ends with Celia Daniels, in her lavish, secluded mansion, receiving a coded message on a secure tablet. A faint, almost imperceptible smile plays on her lips as she reads it. The camera zooms in on the screen, revealing a single word: complications. Then, a faint image, almost a ghost in the static, of the very same sniper from Rotterdam, a subtle nod to the overarching, interconnected web of deceit. This chilling final shot leaves the audience with a profound sense of dread, understanding that while one monster has been caged, a far more dangerous, elusive one still stalks the shadows, her power and reach now truly revealed. The saga of John Sugden may be reaching its grim conclusion, but the terrifying reign of Celia Daniels has only just begun, promising a future for Emmerdale that is darker, more complex, and utterly unpredictable. The October 8th episode is a relentless roller coaster of emotion and suspense, meticulously crafted to not only advance the current storylines but to lay the groundwork for a truly epic, interconnected narrative that will transcend the boundaries of individual soaps. It's a testament to the power of storytelling, where every character, every choice, every shadowy figure plays a crucial role in a grander, more terrifying design. Be prepared, Emmerdale fans, for the lines between good and evil will blur, and the fight for justice will demand sacrifices far greater than anyone could have imagined. The echoes of retribution are growing louder, and they will resonate across the dales and beyond, forever changing the landscape of Emmerdale. Use arrow up and arrow down to select a turn, enter to jump to it, and escape to return to the chat. The capture of John Sugden, a fleeting moment of triumph, has merely peeled back the first layer of a far more intricate and dangerous conspiracy. As the dales awaken to a new day, the aftermath of Rotterdam reverberates, sending shockwaves through every corner of Emmerdale. Prepare for an episode that delves deeper into the chilling connections between our characters, revealing hidden motives, forging unlikely alliances, and pushing the boundaries of what they believe to be true. The October 9th episode is a meticulous dissection of the threads that bind them, a slow burn of suspense that promises to ignite into an inferno of revelations. Our story resumes in the sterile, yet surprisingly dense, confines of a Dutch police interrogation room. John Sugden, now stripped of his fleeting freedom, sits opposite two stony-faced detectives. He is no longer the frantic fugitive, but a caged animal, his eyes still holding that unsettling glint of triumph from his encounter with Cain. The interrogation begins, a verbal chess match as the detectives attempt to pry information about the sniper and the larger network from him. John, however, remains defiantly silent, or offers only cryptic, taunting remarks, hinting at a bigger game at play, a puppet master far more influential than anyone suspects. He revels in their frustration, knowing that his silence is now his most potent weapon. He occasionally glances at a small, almost imperceptible scar on his arm, a constant reminder of the sniper's precision, and perhaps, a sign of a pact. The tension in the room is palpable, a silent acknowledgement that they have captured a monster, but not the full extent of the monstrosity. Meanwhile, Cain Dingle, nursing a painful but superficial graze from the sniper's shot, is released from the hospital. He is seething, not just from the wound, but from the humiliation of being intercepted, of having true justice snatched from his grasp. His anger is a palpable force, a simmering volcano threatening to erupt. He immediately seeks out the lead Dutch detective, demanding answers about the sniper. The detective, equally frustrated, admits they have no leads, no clear motive, only the perplexing, professional execution of the interference. This scene shows a rare vulnerability in Cain, a frustration that cuts through his usual hardened exterior. He's accustomed to controlling situations, and this external, unknown force has thrown him off balance. Someone doesn't want John talking, Cain growls, his instincts sharpening, and that means someone far more powerful is pulling the strings. Back in Emmerdale, the news of John's arrest is met with a mixed bag of relief and lingering anxiety. For Mackenzie Boyd, the immediate threat is gone, but the scars remain. The episode portrays a poignant scene where Charity Dingle gently tries to reassure Mac, telling him John is behind bars. But Mac's eyes, still haunted, reflect a deeper fear. What if he gets out? He whispers, his voice barely audible. What if there are others? This underscores the psychological depth of his trauma, demonstrating that mere capture does not erase the deep-seated terror. He grapples with vivid flashbacks, brief, disorienting glimpses of the bunker, the crossbow, the feeling of utter helplessness. Charity, seeing his continued struggle, makes a resolute decision. She will stop at nothing to ensure John never walks free, even if it means confronting the very people who aided his escape. This brings us to Caleb Milligan. The news of John's arrest, far from bringing him peace, plunges him into a new kind of turmoil. His carefully constructed web of deceit begins to unravel. He receives a chilling, anonymous text message, a single, cryptic symbol followed by a photo of his wife, Belle, taken discreetly from a distance. The message is clear, his actions are being watched, and his family remains vulnerable. This subtle threat, far more terrifying than any direct confrontation, pushes Caleb to the brink. He realizes he is no longer in control, he has become a pawn in a game far beyond his comprehension. A frantic, Desperate phone call between Caleb and an unknown contact ensues, filled with hushed tones and veiled threats, hinting at a clandestine organization that holds sway over Caleb's fate. The deal was simple: Caleb pleads, John was out, the email was gone. The voice on the other end is cold, emotionless, reminding him of the larger obligations. This interaction paints Caleb not as a purely malicious figure, but as a man caught between a rock and a hard place, making morally ambiguous choices to protect his loved ones. The episode then seamlessly shifts focus to Celia Daniels, now elevated to the terrifying stature of an international crime lord. She is no longer just the serpent from the decrypted messages, she is a phantom, a whisper in the global underworld, her reach far exceeding the Dales. A captivating scene unfolds in her opulent, hidden command center, a room filled with flickering screens displaying encrypted data, maps, and financial transactions. She is not reacting to John's arrest, she is anticipating. Her demeanor is calm, almost serene, a stark contrast to the chaos she orchestrates. She is reviewing surveillance footage of the sniper in Rotterdam, not with anger, but with a cold, assessing gaze, as if evaluating a successful chess move. She makes a concise, almost imperceptible gesture, and one of her lieutenants immediately begins to issue new orders, rerouting shipments, activating new operatives. This scene cements her chilling efficiency and foresight, confirming her as the true puppet master. A shocking revelation during this sequence further expands Celia's network. She has a deep-rooted, almost familial connection to the sniper in Rotterdam. The sniper, revealed to be a distant relative, a highly trained operative known only as the Chameleon, operates with chilling precision and unwavering loyalty to Celia. Their interaction is brief, a single, coded video call where Celia congratulates the Chameleon on a job well done, not for capturing John, but for ensuring his silence and preventing Kane from truly gaining the upper hand. This twist not only introduces a formidable new character but deepens Celia's backstory, suggesting a powerful, generational criminal enterprise. The episode masterfully builds suspense through a series of subtle encounters and veiled threats. April Windsor, still grappling with her trauma, accidentally overhears a hushed conversation between Ray and one of Celia's enforcers. It's a moment of chilling realization for April, confirming her worst fears that the danger is far from over. She sees a package being exchanged, not drugs, but a new burner phone, and a subtle threat about loose ends from the enforcer. This encounter reignites April's terror, but also sparks a tiny flicker of defiance. She begins to secretly observe Ray, a child forced to play detective in a world far too adult for her. The climax of the episode revolves around Kane's relentless pursuit of answers. He refuses to let the sniper's interference go unresolved. With the decrypted messages linking Celia to the wider network, Kane realizes the true scope of the threat. He confronts Caleb, not with accusations, but with a chilling proposition. Tell me everything, Caleb. About John, about the email, about who you're really working for. Because if you don't, I promise you, I will find out. And when I do, you'll wish you were still in Rotterdam with John. This is a different kind of confrontation, less about brute force and more about psychological warfare. Kane appeals to Caleb's fear for his family, using the anonymous threat against Belle as leverage, hinting that he knows more than he lets on. Caleb, desperate and cornered, finally cracks. In a raw, emotionally charged scene, he reveals the full extent of his coercion, detailing how the Serpent had approached him months ago, offering protection for his family in exchange for his cooperation in controlling the distribution network in the Dales. He confesses about Anthony Fox's body, the pre-scheduled email, and the brutal choice he was forced to make. I had no choice, Kane, he chokes out, tears welling in his eyes. They threatened Belle. They threatened to expose everything. He then reveals a horrifying truth. John Sugden was not just a murderer, he was an unwitting test subject, a pawn used by Celia to gauge the effectiveness of her deeper network and to draw out potential threats, like Kane. The sniper's intervention in Rotterdam was not to protect John, but to ensure he remained silent, preventing him from exposing Celia's broader operations. The episode concludes with a chilling, game-changing reveal. As Kane processes Caleb's confession, he receives an anonymous package. Inside, he finds a USB drive. Plugging it into his laptop, a hidden video file plays. It's a recording of John Sugden, made shortly before his escape to Rotterdam. In the video, John, clearly agitated, is speaking directly to the camera, confessing his crimes, but then, with a haunted look, he begins to detail Celia's operations, her methods, and crucially, an encrypted file location. If anything happens to me, John whispers, his voice trembling, this will expose her. She's far more dangerous than anyone knows. She has contacts everywhere, even within the police force itself. The video abruptly cuts off, leaving Kane staring at the screen in stunned silence, his face a mask of dawning horror. The final shot is a close-up of Kane's resolute, yet terrified, eyes as he comprehends the true magnitude of the threat. Not only is Celia a powerful criminal mastermind, but her influence reaches into the very institutions meant to protect them. The web is far more expansive, far more insidious than anyone could have imagined. The hunt for John Sugden was merely the prologue. The real battle for Emmerdale has only just begun. The question now is not just who will survive, but who, if anyone, can possibly stand against an enemy that operates from within.